Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to your Miami Heat Beat post-game show. Giancarlo is over here to my left, but he is not your host tonight. It is me, Siobhan, running point with my dog Tiff and G. Like I said, hello people, how we feel?
What's up? What's up?
The
New
switcheroo.
Cardinals hat. Who this?
Screaming.
St. Louis.
Love that for you.
I'm doing great, man. Kyle Lowry hooped.
You should feel that way, and we can get into it a little bit. If you are listening to the podcast, we love you. Keep doing that. If you are watching us on Twitch, be active in the chat. We enjoy that too. I don't know if we're posting this on the YouTube, but if you catch us over there too, show us some love. And yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it. The start of this game was so disjointed, was so all over the damn place. It stressed me. And it wasn't just Miami. Like, Charlotte couldn't hold on to the ball either. It looked crazy.
Right.
Tiff, as,
Yes.
athlete to athlete, right?
Right.
What is the mindset at the start of a match? And where does it sometimes feel like Miami is when we begin a match? The way you start and how you finish is what's most important. And we be having trouble finishing. And then today we had a rough start. So take me into the mindset a little bit to begin.
Today looked like one of those games where they just, I'm not going to say they weren't ready to play. I feel like the lather wasn't there. I feel like the pre-warm-up wasn't there. I feel like somebody didn't eat the pasta they usually eat. Somebody put on the wrong sock on the wrong foot first. I feel like Kevin Love didn't get that extra brush in that pattern this morning. Like, you could just see they just didn't look ready.
Yeah.
They looked a little lethargic, which, I mean, we just faced this team. So I think that's also part of it. Like,
Yes.
I just saw you yesterday, bro. Like,
I'm bored a little bit.
Right. Like, we just saw them. So I think there was like a combination of a lot of things. And also, like, we have to remember we're still without players. So everybody's still finding their way as to whose time is it? Am I shooting? Am I doing this? I could, and I see everybody kind of looking around, but like, let's be realistic. Like, if Duncan Robinson is there, I guess he's taking the lead because it happened again. And he kind of, it seemed like he got them out of that little rough start. Between him and Kyle, I felt like they were able to start the ship, steady the ship, and keep it afloat.
Yeah. G, same general question. Are you more concerned with our inability to close at times? Or do you feel, like I said, more concerned about these kind of lackadaisical and unfocused and kind of just like haphazard starts that we can stumble ourselves into?
It's for sure the fourth quarter stuff. Because, for me, I think that they've kind of been weird because they have had, I think, the most starting lineups in the league so far. And I just think it's going to be hard for them.
I feel like they've had that for like the last 3 seasons.
Oh, for sure.
And every other week.
And I think that explains like this Jimmy build problem with first quarters is because like they never start the game with familiarity. As the game progresses, I think the bench guys and like they have more kind of familiarity. So for me, it's just like I'm just more used to that. The fourth quarter stuff is like I think that they're also like a group that they weirdly SPO teams in general, they can like fix their mistakes. And I think the modern NBA, it makes comebacks plausible, particularly with kind of the dynamic and explosive shooters that they have when Tyler's healthy. Duncan, obviously, Jimmy can go nuclear, in spots as well. So it's more the fourth quarter stuff where you watch their shot selection deteriorate. You watch decision making. You watch like, okay, why are they playing this weird lineup? It's like a lot of little things. It's like it's almost everybody's fault in the fourth quarter. Where the first quarter stuff, I feel like, is more a little bit explainable.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think the fourth quarter because have less time to correct.
Right.
You don't want to start out poorly, but you have a whole,
Mhm.
3 quarters to kind of course correct a little bit. Um, Gee, you began it with Kyle Hoop. Talk about your boy a little bit. What did you like from him? We talked about decision making some, and just how have you felt about him, or how did you feel about him tonight, and his ability to kind of not right this ship, but just be the bomb that they be needing a lot of times.
They left like 6 assists on the table that he should have gotten, by the way. He finished the game with
Mhm.
one, which I feel like it's a little messed up to the stat line because I thought he did a really good job of getting guys open shots. I know Duncan missed, I think what Duncan only missed 3 threes. One of them was off a beautiful kick from Kyle. Jamal Kane missed another open one. He played really well. But I think that mostly when he's shooting the ball well, he provides so much. He was 4 of 4 from three. That that pull up off a screen I think is so important to their offense, and it's what I envisioned. That's really the main thing I envisioned when he got here coming off handoffs. I think he and Love play really, really well together. Obviously, he and
Mhm.
Ben, but I think Love is such a good wide screener. They can play handoff stuff as well. They can do pick and pop. There's a lot of dynamic stuff that they can do. He used Jimmy as a screener today, and even kind of during the season more than last season, where he kind of looked dead in the water. So when he's obviously an important player to them because he's their only real ball handling guard. Because Josh
Mhm.
is not that guy. Drew Smith, unfortunately, is out for the season. Even when he was in, not a guy that you want to do too much handling. Caleb, not a ball handling guard, more of like a scoring guy, right? Jimmy, Jimmy's Jimmy, but they need him to be able to provide on offense because I think defensively, while he's lost step, I think, and I've said a bunch, he has good hands, he takes charges, he's in the right place. But really, when he provides you that shooting that he did tonight, the rest of his game comes together, and that's kind of what happens when you get old. When you get older, you don't have that little engine, that little boost. So you're gonna need other parts of your game to open the floor up, and he's a very smart player, and I hope people are seeing that. So when he kind of self creates kind of space on the floor, he makes good decisions. He gets guys involved. He makes good passes. He knows how to read advantages, and I just think tonight was a good example of that.
Tiffany, we talk a little bit about the way that we, or just I think the fan base kind of in general, the way
Mhm.
that Jimmy kind of approaches games, right? And I love it. Turn up. The Tonight you look at Jimmy, right? 15 points, 6 rebounds, 29 minutes. Didn't have to play the whole fourth. We'll talk about that, kind of when we get there.
Right.
10 assists. And so you have, it flying out there, pedestrian Jimmy. I have tweeted once before, and that was before even kind of some of the other things picked up. I'm like, is Jimmy here today?
Mm.
And so they ran some stuff for him. They ran some right side clear outs where they were just getting some ghost screens with Kyle and
Right.
just getting Terry Rozier on Jimmy and
Mhm.
just letting Jimmy, kind of pick what he wanted to do
Right.
out of that side. Tonight you got Jimmy picking, drawing the doubles, then moving it this way. I don't even know kind of what my line of questioning is here, but just the balance between assertive looking to score Jimmy and knowing when I need to score, but also being diligent in moving the ball around.
Right. So I think like you and I've had this conversation many a times, and I always say I want Jimmy in that mid post area playmaking.
And
Like
that's where he
I
was a
say it,
lot.
I say it every season. Like that's what I want to see. Because I feel like there are nights where he doesn't need to be brutal with his body, going to the
Yeah.
basket, doing all the things, especially when you've got a few guys clicking. And we noticed that tonight, as well as he noticed it.
Yeah.
He looked for his shot when it was necessary,
Yeah.
which I really liked tonight. Um, he started out pedestrian, but then as I watched him a little bit more, I noticed
Mm-hmm.
he literally was letting the game come to him. He wanted to let everybody get those opportunities, whether it be the shots, whether they make the plays, and he was just there when they needed it. I think going forward, especially considering like the injury history with this team,
Yep.
they need more nights like this out of Jimmy, where it's pedestrian, quote unquote, but he's doing all the little things and not playing in the fourth. Like
And
I
I think
think this,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I genuinely didn't mean to cut you off. I think that's a lot of what's missing in the he's pedestrian kind of where is he,
Mhm.
arguments. The amount of work and effort and strain he's taking off of his body by
Mhm.
being judicious in how he, goes for his shot, but also make sure that, everyone else is touching it and come along with me. I've
Right.
said a bunch. This team is successful when it's an avalanche of production from multiple people. And so,
Mhm.
it doesn't really do too much when you necessarily have Jimmy going for 40 or whatever, and no one else can get anything, and we still kind of lose. I,
Right.
I think you're right in that. um, we should be more open to these types of approaches from him, uh,
Mhm.
kind of going forward. The middle of the game. um I don't even know what like kind of stood out to me in the middle of the game. I was just so taken aback by the number of turnovers to
Mhm.
begin. And the third, much cleaner on defense, much cleaner with the ball. G, did you see anything, or what did you see, or did you see anything specific schematically that you thought was different to start the second half, or was it just a more concerted focus?
I think it was a bit of more concerted focus, and I think that SPO teams almost to a point that's frustration. They
Mm-hmm.
don't do a ton of in-game adjustments
Mm-hmm.
unless it's like a contender or like a
Mhm.
like against Boston and Milwaukee. You'll see that they'll change the norm and they'll
Mm-hmm.
even change stuff quarter to quarter. Against a team like Charlotte, they
Yep.
just go out like we're gonna run our stuff. Let's clean up these mistakes,
Yep.
and I think that's what it was. They kind of cleaned up the
Mhm.
mistakes. They kind of took care of the ball. I thought their focus was a little more okay. We're gonna run this stuff. We're gonna get into our pick and roll. We're gonna get Lowry off these screens. We're gonna get Jimmy into that mid post area. We're gonna try to attack. Charlotte's gonna switch us. Okay, we're gonna go at it. And I just thought that their process was a little bit sharper. I don't know if they. At least I did not see any like specific adjustments, but I did think it was a more kind of focused effort, which I think helps because you come out of halftime,
Yep.
coaches in the
Yep.
locker room. I'm sure both of you are very familiar with this. Hey guys, what the F is this? Let's clean this up. Look,
Right.
why are you doing this? Hey guys, head in the game. I think too, maybe, guys at home, they're playing a team that's not too high in the standings. You kind of come in thinking, we just beat them. We should be fine. And listen, they went into halftime with a lead. What was it, like a 7 point? Went in with like a comfy lead at halftime or something, or if I remember correctly. Um, and I think they cut the turnovers too. I think the turnovers were
Yeah.
like really
Mhm.
mad sloppy, yo. They both teams finished with 22% turnover,
Mhm.
just bad. Miami's half court offense, by the way, I thought was much improved in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting to the offensive glass. I thought huge, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought that
Yeah.
Bryant went after it. Shout out to him. Not the best kind of season with him, but I thought he played pretty well today. And yeah, their half court offense kind of came alive a bit, which is partly the shooting, but love to
You
see
have
that.
numbers for the first and second half
Not
court
the first
offense?
and second half, but for the game, the Heat were at a 99 offensive rating. Unfortunately, cleaning the glass is not so kind to separate that into halves. But that 98 is in the 88th percentile in the league. That's very good. And I reckon a lot of that is Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry hitting a lot of threes in the half court.
Mhm.
And we haven't mentioned him. Hawkes shot the ball extremely well today off
Yep.
every kick out. That guy in that
Yep.
wing, he was nailing it. He finished the game 17, 6, and 8, 2 for 2 from three. Gotta love that.
Tiff, go
Can
ahead.
I was gonna say, can I tell you actually what I'm most impressed by the
Go
whole
ahead.
game? Caleb.
And I
This is
wanted to
one of the
touch on Caleb. Go ahead.
okay. Because
No, go
this
ahead.
is
Take it.
one of the few games this season where he's been available and played where he was under control all night.
Mm-hmm.
Like he what because he has a tendency to play with the ball. He has a tendency to get the dribble and not know exactly what to do with the dribble or how to get to where he wants to get to if it's not a beeline to the
Yep.
basket. And tonight, everything about him was sharp. His movements were sharp. His passes were sharp. He actually his defense looked a lot better. He looked more springier. Um, like I'm happy for him because he's looking happy on the court,
Yeah.
And tonight he just played. To me, he played a really good all-around game.
And it's so funny because if you look at his line, right, 9 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 for 3 from three, but 4 for 13 from the field, and
And 4
genuinely,
turnovers.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like a bunch of them kind of came in the first. And there, to your point, he can get a little loose with his handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it was tighter tonight, but I think it's so interesting that you say that. And he missed 9 shots, and I can maybe place, I don't know, maybe 4 of them. I don't he didn't, and not that he's someone who does this often, but like I don't feel like his 9 misses were loud or big misses, and like he doesn't shoot them out of the games. But I wasn't
Right.
frustrated with
Right.
how he went about what it is that
Mm-hmm.
he tried to go about today.
There were a few in the
Um,
fourth, Bond,
uh-huh.
that I'm gonna push back a little bit on what Tiff said because I mostly agree. I did think the turnovers were a problem, but in the fourth
Mhm.
quarter, I think part of that lead slippage, I did not like his shot selection. There
There
was like
was a
one
little, if yeah,
when he took that one at the top of the key. I was like, bro,
Right.
you have a driving lane. Like,
yeah.
just go. Like,
But
don't.
but G, he does that 8 times a game.
I know.
So
it's
for him
gross.
to do it, but no, like I'm,
we got a great. We got a
What do
grave
we
on
call
the
that?
Kingland
Yes.
curve.
Gross.
you know what it is? I'm trying to be because he does it so much. His
Yeah.
shot selection is so iffy.
Especially
That
with
so like
Yo Bam and Jimmy on the floor, where he
Right.
They'd
has
be like, it's
free
my
reign.
time.
And-
Like,
or
let's-
Kyle.
right.
It's time to hoop.
He calling his own number. So seriously, I'm usually so frustrated with him by
Yeah.
the third that I
That's a
don't
great
want to
point.
see him no more. So
Great
at
point.
least tonight I didn't feel like he felt like I got to do it all.
I like the shot attempts. I'm generally pro anyone on this team that wants to put it up because I just think they all have a passivity issue. So listen, you want to take 13 shots, you go for it, bro. I'm happy for you.
Haven't even touched on Duncan yet. I want to stay kind of right where we are in these twitchy wing universe. Tiff, Lil
Mhm.
Daddy, Mr. Kane. I thought that he gave them, he missed, I think, his first 2 or 3,
Yeah.
but I was encouraged by the way that he continued to shoot. That he didn't let the first few misses kind of take him out of some offensive
Right.
assertiveness. When he picked his spots, his spots well. I think after the first 2 or 3 misses, he came one time and gave a left side mid-range dribble pull up, nothing but net. And I was like,
Yep.
I love that. I love that. You miss a 3, miss another 3, cool. Like, stay within yourself. Don't try to do too much. But he had an understanding of, I can do this though. Yeah, I missed those
Right.
too, but I can do this. Would, in lieu of Josh, right? We had no Josh tonight. From Jamal and just playing on the wings. Just I don't want to give you a how'd you feel about him, but this is like kind of our first time at seeing a
Right.
healthy portion of Jamal tonight. So what did you enjoy about how he comported himself tonight?
So I think it's interesting because you're right. In lieu of Josh. So I felt like a couple of things happened there. Like we asked so much out of Josh, right? Handle the ball, do this, do that. Like there's so many things on the plate. But then Jamal's turn to eat, he literally lived where he lived. He played within his house. So those are the things that play in the back of my mind. If this is what we can do for him, we need to
Yes.
move this and part
Yes.
this over to somebody else.
Yeah.
And then that's the 2 things with that. That's Jamal's personal growth as a player, and also the coaching staff saying, "Shoot the next one, shoot the
Yes.
next one." Like,
And
this
they're
is-
always that. And that's always how they are.
exactly. And it kind of, for him, I'm happy for him because you could see that marriage of, because we know he can jump out the gym. We know he could do all these things, but he literally played within himself. He kept shooting the ball. He kept trying to crash the boards. He kept playing defense. He didn't get ahead of himself. So which allowed him to actually get more minutes tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of him.
And go ahead, G.
Feel like a dude trying to get a job.
Listen,
Well, I
out here
mean,
from my lunch pail.
Hey.
Notice me. See me.
Bond,
I'm here.
Tiff and I were talking on the phone today about like, bro, the Heat love when guys just play their fucking ass off. They don't care who you are as long as you go. Like Drew Smith got minutes for this team because he just tries really hard, and they like to reward that. And a guy like Kane, there's a reason why a guy like Thomas Bryant got benched because that guy doesn't play hard, and it's a reason why they got in the Hassan Whiteside business and they immediately wanted out of it. Is because like that guy like didn't like try hard, and they like guys like Udonis. They like guys like Jimmy when he cares. Bam, Tiff and I talked about that today. Bam plays his ass off every single night on both ends of the floor, and Jamal Cain fits that mo perfectly. That guy came in, he took no possessions off, and maybe he missed some shots, but he played his ass off, and that everybody in that front office is like, that's our guy, baby.
Gee, you're talking about the offensive rebounding kind of in the fourth, and he was part of that. He was in the mix, just getting tip outs, just trying to keep trying to keep the ball alive. And they do love guys like that, and it speaks to the character of selflessness. It takes
that's
a
Heat
lot.
Culture.
That's what it takes a lot to give up yourself to get on the floor. There was a loose ball one time, kind of somewhere near the top of the key. On the right side, the right goal, and Jaime's on the ground. I think he took out Terry Rozier in the process. It's like 4 bodies on the ground, but those things, the giving of yourself to highlight yourself, but also to help us go. And if we all can do that, then we all can, propel this thing forward.
Bond, there's a reason why when a guy takes a charge in that building, it's as loud as when a guy hits a three. That's not that way in every building. In Miami, people go crazy because that is literally what the organization has propagated and has embraced that part of it. Sacrifice, give up. That's why Eric Reed says, give up your body. Like, that's why they love a guy like Kevin Love. Kevin's ass on the floor every game.
And he's big. And to take charges as a big guy, that's something too.
I mean, Dwayne Wade was doing it. Like your elite finesse superstar was not above that.
Yep. The fourth quarter, where things that we love happen. I don't think Kyle played the whole fourth. Jimmy definitely didn't play the whole fourth.
Kevin did not.
And Kevin did not. We beat Charlotte on Monday by 2. We were up, I think, 21 going into the fourth, and Charlotte made a run. And I was wondering, we went to commercial at around 5 minutes, and I was wondering if Spo was going to come back with at least one of those guys, probably a Jimmy, and he didn't. And I appreciated it. And, they're very much so let the lineup that kind of got us here, kind of take us home. But I want to talk specifically about, this rookie. There is just something so like blessed in kind of being able to sit Jimmy, but have such an overlap of Jimmy's skill set, the playmaking, the hubbing ability out of the mid post, the creation kind of off the dribble. He's going to get to the rim. He's going to find himself kind of in the paint and in the mix. Tiffany, the comfort and we have a back-to-back. The comfort in being able to sit, our guys with a lot of minutes and push through with a Jaime, a Caleb, Jamal tonight. Just the resolve of this group and not letting the rope all the way go.
I think it's like you said. So he had Spo had the opportunity to bring guys back. But I love that he didn't, because that's what you need to instill in these young guys.
Yes.
Because you need these guys. Like where are we in the season? Game what? What are we? 17, 18?
No, I think are we in 20 somewhere?
We're in the 20s.
I genuinely don't know.
So this is where we are. So you're going to need these guys, and you're going to need these guys all season. And you ride with them, and you're basically saying to them, we win or lose with you right now.
Yep.
This is it. And that's what they need, because they all have a requisite skill set to help win. But can they put it on display when it's time to win?
It's like pressurizing a low pressure moment for preparation for the actual
Mhm.
pressure of later in the season.
Yep.
Talk about the and they executed in the fourth, right? We
Yes.
still, I think we finished the game by 12, went to the fourth up, 21. There was still some slippage there, but we didn't lose the rope in our offensive processes and how we went about trying to do things offensively in the fourth.
Well, they scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. That's
Yeah.
not good enough.
It's
The
not.
the problem is that they gave up 34 points in the
Yes.
fourth quarter.
We
And I
lost.
think more
And
often than not,
I don't mean to cut
no,
you
go
off,
ahead.
but I was looking at the lower third. I'm like, Heat win the fourth quarter. I'm like, did we actually win? I mean, we won.
We actually didn't win the fourth quarter.
We
They
actually
lost it
didn't
by
win.
10.
Yeah.
But my bad. I made the Chiron under duress.
No, we're gonna bank Pablo. Pablo, you're
Yeah,
fired.
no, that was
Yeah.
that was my fault. I made that. I will not let the intern take the fall there. We have
I'm
accountability here on Miami Heat beat.
Culture.
Yeah, their defense is always out of whack, and I think right now, tonight was just it was the Thomas Bryant and Duncan Robinson, and other young guys are on the floor show. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of what went on with that. But I think historically they've blown leads with Bam on the floor and Jimmy and all these
Right.
guys. So tonight, I think was more of a listen. Thomas Bryant played and it just didn't look great. And I thought Rozier and Caleb defensively, I thought was good on Rozier, but Rozier still cooked him.
Yes.
Because Rozier is
yeah.
a really good basketball player. Scary Terry, as some might call him. So for me, the main fourth quarter thing is going to be how they figure it out defensively, because the other thing is that when they don't get stops, they can't get out in the open floor. The other team sets their defense. It's just life's just harder when you don't get stops. And when they get stops, and they've always been a team that defense leads to offense. It's not the other way around. They don't.
Yes.
They're not. Yeah, they're not Indiana and they're not Sacramento. They're the Heat, and they need to get some good old fashioned elbow grease stops, and that's going to lead to other offense. And Tiff, turnovers, like they need live ball turnovers, because they're at their best, not dead ball turn. When they get live ball turnovers, that's when they really get rocking. And they didn't get them.
Well, here's the thing. They haven't been getting them.
No.
But
not this year.
But our defense is off kilter. Like, we can admit it, because we're used to Jimmy and Bam feasting. Like, we are used to those two covering 3 and 4 people at one time. Like, they're everywhere. So, yeah, like, let's be realistic. Our defense is pretty mad right now. And it's going to be mad until Bam come back.
And Highsmith.
Have it help.
And
Highsmith. It's going to be mad. The thing is, you got to win these games with duct tape and elbow grease.
And
Like,
be
it
happy
doesn't-
that you're
and
winning.
And
Right.
credit to them, because they
Yes.
have. Because they're
You have
out
to.
3 starters, and the
Yes.
fact that they've won this many, I think they've been
That's
like
the
500.
conversation I wanted to have.
Yes, you just gotta win.
Yeah.
And you just gotta win and pray that the guys come back healthy at the right time. Like,
Vaughn.
because go ahead, G.
No, I was going to agree with everything. I was going to agree with both of you.
That's it. Like, get the wins. And guess what? Don't waste the Kyle games.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. You can't afford to waste a good game by him, because we are putting the miles on him.
They
Like,
can't afford the bad games. I mean, he played with back spasms, and they looked bad because he was awful, because he shouldn't have been out there.
But they got to win. Like, any kind of way to stay afloat while your guys are out.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like dog shit. Like, I'm telling you, I started watching this game tonight and I was like, okay.
I want to have a space or something, because I really want to expand on this conversation. Because I feel the exact same way. Just be effing happy that we are actually pulling out a decent chunk of these wins kind of over this stretch.
Next man up.
This is the men's we got. Like, we pockets is pulled out, man. Like, this is it. This is all I got. Tiff, to your question, your inquiry earlier, 24 games in, we're 14-10. We have Chicago tomorrow night. And yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, get out of here. I didn't even have time to really talk about Duncan, but Duncan's just been fucking marvelous.
Right.
What else is there to say?
What
else is there to say? Truly. But yeah, this is it, guys. Thank you to my lovely co-panelist. Pablo, the intern, I guess you're not fired. G took that one. You know, he took accountability for that one. We love that. That's Heat culture here. Everyone in the chat, we love you. And yeah, you know where we're at. We're on the timeline. We here, you know. Give us a ring, give us a chat, and we will see y'all next time.